The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Good afternoon. This is Brad Biley with Haley Marketing Group. We're going to get started on this afternoon's consulting call in just about 2 minutes. Good afternoon. This is Brad Biley with Haley Marketing Group. I want to welcome everybody to today's January consulting call. We're going to talk all about the pilot program, what was executed in January, and what you all have to look forward to in February. So everyone's aware, I also have Todd Lewandowski, Director of Content Marketing, on today's call. If you have any questions for either Todd or myself, please use the questions window. We can answer those during the presentation. We can also answer any questions after the presentation. So to get started, I want to go back to square one and really what we started with when we began the pilot program. In last month's presentation began with the same quote by Jay Baer: the goal is not to be good at social media. The goal is to be good at business because of social media. As we look at social gold, as we look at the different programs that are provided under this pilot program, we really want to focus on our main goals. We want to focus on driving more applications and more job orders. So while the goal is to understand these tools and understand the tactics that we're deploying, ultimately we want to increase applications and increase job orders, contact form submissions from prospective clients. Throughout the program, you'll see that while we might vary our tactics and change up things on social media, we might try new and exciting ideas on email marketing, the main goal is going to stay consistent. We want to increase applications, and we want to increase job orders and those contact form submissions. What's great is with a lot of your websites, while I looked at the data a few days ago, a lot of this can be tracked, so we can report on these numbers. We can look at traffic from candidates. We can look at traffic from clients. We could also look at those application submissions or page visits, assuming the websites are built to do so. So to recap, what was executed in the month of January? We had daily social media sharing to company Facebook pages, LinkedIn pages, and Twitter accounts. We created branded social sharing images that linked back to the Resource Center content, holidays, fun facts. We had motivational quotes, and we had now hiring images. All of these had a very specific purpose. The Resource Center content, the goal was to drive visitors back to that content where they could ultimately take action from there. Holidays, we wanted to include fun content so that we weren't just sharing resource after resource. We were sharing holidays, fun facts, and motivational quotes, engaging content that your audience could like, share, and engage with on social media. And then we also included now hiring images so that we were linking content, linking back to available opportunities on your website. In January, we also tracked data on the Resource Center and on the majority of websites within the pilot program. I will say that with the 15 offices that we have in the pilot program, there were 4 that we were unable to track in the month of January. If you've received a report from me, that data we were able to collect. For the offices that haven't received one of those reports, when our team launched the Resource Center, for one reason or another, either the UA code from Google Analytics was installed late, or it certainly didn't get transferred over in time to the resource center, we were unable to track the first couple weeks of the program. I'm happy to report that those UA codes have been added to everybody but MRA Global. That's going to be added on Friday because of the new website and the new UA code. We will be able to track all of that data starting on Friday. So it'll be our goal now moving forward to track everything that's happening for all of these initiatives. Which brings us to the exciting news of what we're now going to roll out in February. In February, we're going to focus on the growth of your personal brand on social media. With Social Gold and the other social services that we've been utilizing through Haley Marketing Group, we're seeing that the personal brand on social media is a very critical asset. So to grow your personal brand, we're going to start sharing on your personal LinkedIn profiles for 3 members. We're going to start sharing on your Twitter account for 2 team members. And then we're going to publish LinkedIn Pulse articles for 1 of your team members. And that team member, I would really encourage it to be somebody with the most followers and connections on LinkedIn, or we'll use one of the top executives at that organization. And what will be shared through these personal channels? I've sent out the February sharing calendar for the for the company pages. We're going to utilize the same strategy for the personal accounts for the month of February. So again, we're sharing great resources back to the Resource Center that link back to the Resource Center. We're sharing holidays. We're sharing fun facts that our team has put together and designed and created. We're sharing Monday motivation images. So we're having a nice healthy mix of content that links back to the site. And we also have fun content that people can engage with, they can like and share on social media. We want to keep the social part of social media a primary focus, and that's where that content comes into play. If we scroll through here a little bit, I have examples of the sharing images. These were also included in January's presentation, but I also wanted to include what would be included for February. So we have these holidays. Groundhog Day is past us, but Valentine's Day is coming up tomorrow, President's Day on Monday. We're going to continue to share these images for the company accounts and your personal accounts. I know there was one individual who had reached out saying that they don't want the holidays on their personal accounts. If there are more of you watching that don't want Happy Valentine's Day, Happy President's Day, want to avoid the holidays and stick just to content, please let us know. There's action items at the end so that we can make sure everything is taken care of for you. Looking at the motivational quotes, our team has built out great visuals, what I consider to be thumb-stopping content. When I say thumb-stopping, I mean as you're scrolling through social media, you take the time to stop on that and consume the content. So whether it's a visual, what we want it to be is very visual, very appealing with a great quote. These motivational quotes are going to go out on Mondays if there's not a holiday. So on President's Day, you won't receive a motivational quote. We have now hiring images that'll be tied to your company. So while we have these going out on the company page, if we're sharing for you personally on LinkedIn, we also want to include these branded images. We're going to keep the brand and the company front and center while also utilizing that personal account. And to touch on Fun Fact Friday, these are meant to be fun, conversational, fun facts that the average viewer might not know that'll make them think, make them want to take action, and then ultimately continue on with their day. While content is designed to drive people back to the site, back to your specific site, these fun facts are really just meant to be engaging, lighthearted, and fun. It's a nice way to break up a Friday afternoon. Just a couple more examples here. The Resource Center articles, as I mentioned in January, are all branded for your organization. If you look back at the sharing calendar that I had sent around, we could show it again later in the presentation, but on the weekend, we're not using branded images, we're using generic images. And the reason for that is we want to share articles in multiple ways. If we share on Tuesday an article, your entire audience won't see that content. So we want to share it again this weekend with a different visual, a different copy, still linking back to the article so that we can attract the audience that didn't see it the first time around. So we'll use that branded image maybe today. On Saturday, then we share the same article with different copy, driving people back to the article, back to that resource with a different visual as well. So what will Haley Marketing do in February? Well, we've already been sharing these branded images on your company pages. We're going to create additional images for the Resource Center content that's being created by Brafton. For March, we're going to start looking at building out holidays, additional fun facts, additional motivational quotes, changing up the hiring images for March as well so that those are fresh and new so that your audience doesn't grow stale to those and they still have the same impact as they did from the beginning. But we're also going to start publishing to your personal accounts. So starting next Monday, ideally, and again, we have action items at the end of the presentation, we'd want to connect 3 team members to our sharing tool. We then want to connect 2 team members' Twitter account to our sharing tool so that as we push out content, it also hits those personal accounts. Think about everybody in your office or the 3 team members that we're connecting. If they're each connected with 100 people, let's say, that's 300 additional people that we can reach by posting on a daily basis. We're already reaching a sizable amount from the company pages. We want to amplify that and intensify it by sharing now to personal accounts. In February, we'll also publish a LinkedIn Pulse article. And what we're going to do is take one article from the Resource Center, and we're going to publish that as one of your team members. Ideally, somebody with the most connections on LinkedIn or somebody in that upper C-suite, upper executive team so that we can share from the top level of that brand. And then we're going to continue with our analytics and our reporting. For the 11 offices that saw the report, that gathered that report, it'll be similar to that, except it'll have new data. For the offices that we unfortunately weren't able to track for the first couple weeks of the program, I apologize, but we are moving forward successfully. That UA code is now installed on the Resource Center. And for MRA, we have that on your site now, and we also have it on the Resource Center. So moving forward, we can look at exactly what's working and pivot our strategy accordingly. And that brings us to what we need from you. So if you can provide me via email or your phone with your LinkedIn login credentials, we can then connect your personal LinkedIn to our scheduling tool. Now, before the questions come in about gathering that LinkedIn login credentials, I understand that that is personal information. Your username and your password to LinkedIn is personal data. You're trusting us with that. And I will say that for the social clients that we are using this strategy for, we're seeing better results and increased success on LinkedIn by doing so. The data is secure. It'll reside within myself and the team that is executing the social strategy. But through our scheduling tool, we'll then be able to distribute content to your personal account. If you could get this to me by Friday, we'll make sure that this gets rolled out on a personal level starting Monday. And again, you can do that via email or by phone. If you're not comfortable sending that login information via email, just give me a couple minutes after the presentation for me to get back to my desk and we can have that call and I'll write everything down for you. I also need you to start clicking like on content. Engagement on social media goes a really long way. So if you see a post in your newsfeed, whether it's on Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, from the company account, please click like. It's a very simple click of the button, but encourage your team to also do that. As LinkedIn, as Facebook, they see this engagement, they start to serve that content to additional people. So if there's quick engagement, more people will start to see the content and it'll snowball from there. So as you see content, I'm not saying now to go back in and like everything that we've posted over the past month, but moving forward, as you see something in your newsfeed, please click like. I also encourage you to add the Resource Center to your main navigation of your website. We're sharing out this content through social media, through email. We're getting people in front of the content. We're funneling them through your website. But adding it to the main navigation of your site is another way for them to get to the articles that are being provided to us by MRI Corporate so that we can get more people in front of that content. If you have specific questions about adding that to the main nav of your website, happy to chat after the presentation. Again, you can shoot me an email or Todd an email. We'd be happy to help with that. We need one more thing from you before the presentation is over or directly after the presentation. Both Todd and myself and the team at Haley Marketing Group would love to know your current perception of the pilot program. If you go to the following URL, it's bit.ly/MRI-Feb13, and I'm going to have Todd put that in the chat window as well, so you can just click the link. You'll have 2 questions. One is going to ask you for your feedback, and one is going to ask for a recommendation on moving forward. So it'll say feedback and then suggestions for improvement. Our team would love to know how you currently feel about the pilot program so that we can pivot accordingly and we can make sure we're exceeding your expectations and we're providing that top tier value. So if you could take the time, like I said, it's only a 2-question survey, your feedback, your suggestions. We really welcome that, and we'd love to know how we're doing and what we can do to improve. And with that, Todd, we are going to open it up to questions, and we will stay on the line, answer any questions from anybody listening right now. You can use the questions window in GoToWebinar, and Todd and I can both answer those for you, whether they're social media specific questions, whether it's questions about the email campaign, the direct mail campaign, and that portion of the pilot program. Both of us are available and on the call to answer those for you. While everyone's filling out that survey and then thinking about their questions, I do want to touch on one question that I got this month via email. Somebody had asked whether or not they should be sharing content to their personal accounts. Yes, you should be sharing to your personal account. If you have us set this up through our scheduling tool, you won't have to. You won't have to manage that on a day-to-day basis because we'll manage that for you, and it'll take a lot of that social sharing off of your plate. Instead, you'll be able to focus on your day-to-day operations and let us handle the social sharing. A question came in from Jim. What will the content be that would be sent to the personal LinkedIn, Twitter, and LinkedIn pages? Todd, if you could page back in the presentation to that sharing calendar, Jim, we can walk through the next couple weeks real quick. So what we want to do is look at sharing content that ultimately links back to the resource center on your website. And we also want to share those holidays, motivational quotes, and fun facts. So starting on Monday, we'd be sharing that Happy President's Day graphic that you saw a few slides ago that would be branded for your specific organization. From there, all of the content on the resource center is layered into different pillars. So if you look at the calendar, everything in red is a different content pillar. So on Tuesday, we'll share an article from the motivation and retention grouping. On the 21st, we're resharing the article that we already shared on the 18th, but we're doing it this time with an unbranded image, and we're doing it with different social copy. So it's linking back to the same article, just in a different way. The 22nd, we're resharing the 20th. On Friday, we'll be including one of those fun fact images. So it's more laid back, more conversational. Instead of linking back to the website, we're sharing just a fun visual that will hopefully stop somebody's attention, get them to consume that graphic, and then continue on their day. Question from Butch says, you mentioned linking something to our website, but went over it quickly. Can you expand on this? What we'd like to do is include the resource center in the main navigation of your website. So whether it's the articles or a link back to it's a link back to the main page of the resource center, we'd want to link there. And what we want to do that for is if somebody comes to your site, we want to give them valuable content so that if they're not ready to take action, they're not ready to contact you, they can read the articles and you can start to earn their trust and then move from there. What's the difference between what has been shared to Facebook and LinkedIn? Seems like there's been more on Facebook. We've been sharing on a daily basis to both. What you might be noticing is the algorithm of both of those platforms showing you specifically that content more, but we have been posting on a daily basis to every platform that we have connected. So Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn, we've been sharing per this calendar to those platforms. What's being different is the copy and how we're sharing it, the wording that we're using. So on Twitter, you need to be more conversational. You need to be shorter with your words. So when we're sharing to Twitter, it's a little bit different than when we're sharing to LinkedIn and Facebook. But ultimately, we're going off of this sharing calendar, and we're distributing that content to your Facebook company page, your LinkedIn company page, your Twitter company account, and now we're going to be adding in those personal layers. Jim, for the login information for the personal accounts, you can send that to me directly. My email is on the last slide of this presentation. If you don't want to ask your team for their login information, and I understand that that's another privacy issue that your team might not want to give you that information, please put them in touch with me and in contact with me, and I can work with them to get their login information so that we can get it added. I certainly don't want you to have a meeting where you need to ask your team for their passwords and their login information. I could certainly understand how that would be received. So instead, just say that Haley Marketing Group is going to be adding in personal sharing through this program that you've signed up for, and you can reach out to Brad Biley directly with that information, and I'll follow up with them. Jim, you had asked about your personal LinkedIn. Yeah, so you would be one of those 3 team members. So we have room right now in our scheduling tool to add in 6 additional slides, or not slides. Sorry, I just read another question. 6 additional team members or 6 additional accounts in our tool. You would be one of those 3. Linda, I appreciate the suggestion. Linda, just so everyone's aware, had mentioned going to the MRI Lancaster website and under employers, show them what the resource tab looks like. Because of the software that we're in, we can't exit and go to the internet right now, just of how we have everything set up. But if you want to, on your own computer, navigate to mrilancaster.com, and then under employers, that's what the resource center would look like. Thank you very much, Linda, for the idea. I appreciate that. We'll stay on the line for a couple more minutes. If there are any additional questions, anything you just want to chat about, maybe I can guide this a little bit directly. For the people that are on the call, any questions specifically about the email component of the pilot program? Have you used the emails successfully? Have you been sending all the emails successfully? Any questions while Todd is also on this call that he can be of some value for you? Todd, there was one question that came in from Julie that says, are we too late to submit more names for our email list?
No, Julie, not at all. What we're going to be doing is each month we'll be sending out the First Friday preview and the recruiting insights for anybody who would like to send that out. So a day or so before those go out, and of course we'll always update you on those dates, you can always send an updated data list to me. Question from Alan. Haley sending the emails directly? Yes, we are, Alan. We're sending the emails, especially for your office. You guys are doing the direct marketing program as an email version. So yes, we're sending those for you.
There was a question that came in through the survey about having access to the images ahead of time as a suggestion. Because of the image licensing that we go through with Adobe, we can't currently provide the images that we've created. So the way Adobe works is we've downloaded and used that image on that instance. Our team is able to use that image. We're working to find out some alternative solutions to this because we do want all of you to have these images so that it's not just sharing off the page, but so that you can actually go in and share the content that you want when you want. I think what we're going to have to do is use some free use imagery, things like Unsplash or Pexels. There's different free use alternatives to Adobe stock, but the first month of images that we put together, because of the licensing, we can't provide those images for additional use. I apologize. I did receive another question via email last week, I believe, about what you could do to amplify your social platforms and get that in front of more people. If you have your email signature set up right now, I would encourage you to add in either sharing buttons that link back to your social platforms. I would encourage you to incorporate, maybe connect with me on LinkedIn and include a link back to your personal LinkedIn or the company LinkedIn, connect with us on LinkedIn. But adding that in your email signature is great real estate and a great way to get more people in front of your social platforms. Even with the email list, add in a one-liner about, hey, if you'd like to be added to our monthly distribution, reply with yes or reply with something so that people reach out to you and seek that information. Somebody had left, or Alan left a question saying that you save the images. Will that be a problem for me to reuse them? Yeah, for right now, I would hold off on that, Alan. That was an oversight on our part with just the way Adobe licensing works. We can't reuse those images. Like we have the rights to use those images for you on your behalf. And moving forward, I think the strategy would be to still use great imagery, but do so out of free use images so that we can share them. They could be unbranded if they need to be. You can manipulate them how you see fit, but to protect us, protect you and your organization from any sort of lawsuit or copyright infringement, yeah, please hold off on actually repurposing that image. So Todd and I can stay on the line for a couple more minutes. We do want to be available if there are any questions, anything else that we can address. I do appreciate all the feedback that we got in the survey so far. If you haven't filled that out yet, please take the 2 minutes just to fill out that survey. Again, the link is in the chat window. It's bit.ly/MRIFeb13. And really that feedback is going to allow us to pivot the program so that we can be successful. We want to provide as much value to you as possible while still staying in line with what we have seen successful in this specific industry. So I do appreciate all the responses. We will take all of this to the team and make sure that we're providing as much value as possible. One more time on the survey link. It is, Todd, if you could actually go back one screen, we could put it right on the main screen right now. So we'll leave that up for a little bit. Thanks for asking, Julie. So Todd and I will leave the presentation running for 2 more minutes here. We are going to mute our microphones, though, and sort of exit the presentation. If you have additional questions or you want to communicate with us at all via email, phone, you have our information. We're looking forward to launching February. We're going to let the presentation run for just a couple more minutes in case there's anybody that needs to write down the URL. But until next time and until we talk again, thank you very much for joining us, and we look forward to executing this initiative for you.